Question of the day, what is your favorite comic book character of all time? Yes, that is not a game-related question, but it's a game-related question today because we're talking about we're talking about WizKids, Rock, Paper, Heroes, Enter the Danger Room. This is Giant Size X-Men through 90s run X-Men, playing essentially a souped-up rock, paper, scissors in which you're moving around a board. So it's an abstract concept taken and put on the board. And we've seen this done lately with things like Kardashev's scale and other things where it takes the elements and ideas of rock, paper, scissors and puts it into a spatial element. So let me know in the comments below what your favorite comic book character of all time is. Mine is probably they're both Jeff Johns, so either Barry Allen's Flash or Hal Jordan Green Lantern, that whole run of Rebirth all the way through basically whenever he stopped writing Jeff Johns. Jeff Johns' entire Green Lantern run is my favorite comic book stuff of all time. Also love some 90s X-Men. Big, huge fan. Let me rant for a second. That's what we talked about. When we met Marvel Comics when I was a kid, yes, people knew about Captain America and Iron Man, but they were secondary. All the games that got made were X-Men games. All the comics, all the toys, all the stuff, it was X-Men stuff that we wanted. So I'm so glad that they're back in the fold. Let's take a look now, though, at WizKids, Rock, Paper, Heroes, Enter the Danger Room. This is Rock, Paper, Heroes, Enter the Danger Room, set up for 3 players. Now you've got a lot of great X-Men characters here from the Giant Size X-Men era all the way through Jim Lee's 92 run. Wolverine, Jean Grey, Jubilee, Cyclops, Storm, Rogue, Kitty Pryde, and then my favorite, Colossus. So what we've got here is you're going to start everybody on E, as in Edgar? I don't know. Anyway, put everybody on E. Normally they'd be on stands, but I want you to see them. So you've got your characters here. You're going to put 4 technique cards up there, have to be different technique cards, and then you're going to put a hazard card at the column it says in the top left. So B starts here. If you're in these spaces at the end of the round, you're going to get some penalties. If you're above them or you get to the controls, you're going to get some bonuses. The point is to play until the hazard deck is empty or until somebody hits 20 points. What you're essentially doing is playing rock, paper, scissors. You are going to be picking, though, not rock, paper, well, those are backwards, but you're going to be picking these techniques. So you have a deck of technique cards up here. We're going to look at what these do. So this one is collision. Now you would put your hand like this, like, you have quite a few. Let me shuffle them up a little more. I already shuffled, but oh, wow, that was some good shuffling. Knockdown, you would push your hand forward like that. I'm just showing you the technique. Strafing, you'd be like that. And then last but not least, a little thumbs up. And those are the technique types, but what they do is different. So this is ricochet, for instance. This one, it pushes your target back 3 spaces and your target's target back 2 spaces. So everyone kind of goes 1, 2, 3, go, and points at someone. So these 2 people could be pointing at each other, whereas this person could be pointing at this person. So what can happen is, let's just say Colossus hits this one, ricochet. Push your target back. I'm aiming at Rogue. So 1, 2, 3. She's aiming at Wolverine. He goes back 2 like this. Then that's all that happens. Then theirs would resolve it. It resolves in initiative order. Person who last read a Marvel comic, always going to be me in my house, will go. Now, you'll resolve all this, and then you'll check the danger room. If no one is in those, you're going to draw closer to it by a couple spaces. You're going to move up. If you were in the danger zone spaces, it says all heroes outside the hazard zone are pulled 2 spaces toward the hazard zone. Now, I don't think you would I think you would stop there. The hero in the hazard zone with the most energy loses 2 energy. Energy would be these right here. And then all other players in the hazard zone lose 1 energy. If you can't spend energy, you have to spend points. So just kind of bad to do that. You start with 3 points and 5 energy to start with. You'll then get rid of this and put a new hazard card out there. You're going to do this over and over until someone reaches, again, 20 points or until all the hazards are done. The other option you can do is play your special superpower. So instead of picking one of these, you could use your power. So Colossus, push all heroes in your target space except you back 1. So let's just start this over at E. So push all heroes in the target space except you back 1. So that would be 1, and then advance 3. 1, 2, 3. Now, why would you do that? Well, yes, you're going to pay a couple energy, but the person closest to the controls, which are these, if someone does deactivate them, you're going to gain 5 points for the closest person to it, and then victory points for the second closest, 1 victory point for the second closest. So you're trying to get up to this spot each round to gain the victory points from that. Other things can give you victory points as well, but mostly that's how you're going to be getting them is by, see this card, for instance, blocks as gain a victory point. You're going to be getting them by getting to the controls, being the closest to the controls and not losing your victory points per paying. So that is how the game plays. Look at everybody's special powers really quick. So advance 4, you may change your target's target. That's pretty cool, little mind control. It's very thematic. I love the claws. Move to the same space as your target and push them back 1. If you have no energy, gain 1 energy. Berserker Barrage, kind of like that. I know it's healing factor, but that's what it felt like to me. Jubilee, Fireworks, Cyclops, Optic Blast. Optic Blast! It's a little Marvel vs. Capcom. Anyway, so if you were to say, let's just say 2 of us pick strafe, like this, right? You would then go to a clash, which means you're going to take a face-down card, point it at each other, flip it up, and then do those. So essentially, you're going to resolve clashes based on hidden information as opposed to open information. You have a choice at first, but once that happens, you then change it out. Now also, when you draw the new hazard card, it's going to tell you how many new technique cards to draw. So this is draw 1 technique card, and that's what happens there. So you're going to be refreshing your technique cards each round as well. Berserker Barrage. So that is how you play Rock, Paper, Heroes, Enter the Danger Room. Interesting concept, right? You're literally playing rock, paper, scissors, but not really. You're using those symbols to do stuff on the board. And I like the thematic nature of this. First and foremost, let's talk about how the game looks. It looks like a quicker game, if that makes sense. Like, the art style it's more cartoony, it's more family focused, it's more like kid-based almost. So it's not like super serious, but it looks like The Batman. Do you remember that cartoon that they did for a while, The Batman? It looks like that. And I like that art style for this. It doesn't take itself too seriously, but also it's not leaning into the like crazy, like, we're comic characters, get it? It's cutesy to a point, but more focused, if that makes sense. So I like the way the game looks, actually. I like the spatial elements of the hazard card being where it is. You know, it's on the side of the board, and you move into that hazard zone. I like the fact you're playing in the danger zone. This stuff is really cool for me as a nostalgia push for the 90s X-Men fan. The game itself, though, playing it is interesting. However, here's where I'm going to ding it for me personally. I don't like take-that games that much, and so this is a game all about, it's the chaotic nature of, what's the train game? Oh, the programming train game where it's got the really cool 3D train. It's the programming nature of that, even though it's not programming, where you could think, oh, great, I've got this great move I'm going to do, and it totally gets botched every time you go to do it. So the frustration factor is really high on this one. What is that train game called? Let me know in the comments below. It's a yellow box. Colt Express. So you get the frustration factor there of, man, I was trying to do this. I can't get this done. Why can I not get this done? Multiple times over. So there is that stress there. But it's just a blast of a game to play for the right audience, knowing that you're not going to take it too seriously and get too angry with your friends. This one would be a good one for that. But all in all, simple game. Kids will like this one especially. You might like playing this one on a party game night because it's so simple and you're doing the motions to each other and having a good time. And it does play quick. You do kind of go through this rather quickly. I like the currency, the fact that you're spending energy to flip your power back over, which is usually very good. If you don't have energy to spend, you have to spend points. So I like the fact that you can even think you're ahead and then lose points by playing poorly. So, interesting concept. Randomness is not the right word because it's not random, it's chosen by your opponents, but chaotic nature can get a little frustrating at times. So, check it out. Rock, Paper, Heroes, Enter the Danger Room. I'm Brian Drake here on the Dice Tower. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, etc. at Dice Tower Brian. Until next time, we'll see you.